Men at Work. Welcome to the Selah episode of the Christian Men at Work podcast. We're in between my interviews with other men. I share with you some thoughts I have about living out this journey of faith while we are at work. While I hope that you benefit from this, a quick reminder that it's much better to spend time in God's Word and with God than with men. So remember to prioritize having a quiet time with God and spending time in His Word directly instead of hearing it from somebody else. Men at Work, welcome to episode 217 and Selah episode 113. Today I want to talk about getting and giving feedback in the workplace. You've seen these surveys that you get when you get a receipt at Lowe's or online. You see it all the time where say, hey, would you take a minute to rate us or to give us feedback? The reason you see these so often is because it's so important. It's so important to help those who are asking for the survey to not just work efficiently, but to do so effectively. In other words, make sure that they're pursuing the right objectives and in the right manner. I manage projects for a living, and a critical aspect of my job is to define early and accurately what my customer or stakeholder needs and wants as project deliverables. Making assumptions or rushing to the execution phase are two big errors which lead to poor results and damaged business relationships. Now, let me just say on this topic, I recommend a recent episode from the Emotionally Healthy podcast called The Life-Changing Skill of Clarifying Expectations. I encourage you to check that out. This is what emotionally mature individuals do. And also one of the axioms on that podcast that I really like is that you cannot be spiritually mature unless you are first emotionally mature. So what am I saying here? I'm saying that when you're in the workplace or when you're in others' workplaces, I encourage you to both get and give feedback. So first of all, get feedback. There was a time when I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he happened to sit in the office next to mine. And somehow it just came up that I talk really loud. So loud that it really was distracting for him. And he had not shared that with me because he didn't want to hurt my feelings. But he chose to share it with me there, and it was kind of in a joking kind of context. But it was a real concern, a real issue. And it really got me thinking how often there are times when someone does want to give me feedback and they're afraid to give it to me. And what a problem that is, because I don't even realize I'm doing something that really needs to be changed. There was another time when I got feedback through somebody else where I had offended someone in a meeting, and they ended up going through my boss, and that was also valuable feedback to get. That was a little even more painful because there were other people involved in it, but that also made me think, wow, how valuable it would be if I could get more better feedback in real time from people so that I have a better sense of how I'm doing when it comes to both what I do and how I do it in my job. Now, how do you go about doing this? I mean, obviously, you can talk to people one-on-one and just ask them to give you feedback, but that requires a real investment in that relationship. In other words, there has to be some safety in that relationship to begin with. So that's an argument for developing those good relationships at work. There may be tools where you work where you can actually send out or have a message sent out either from a database or a program, or from actually directly from your boss to others that work with you, to request that type of feedback. I know where I've worked, I've seen that in play where I've received messages from people who are saying, hey, please give me feedback from someone who directly reports to me on how they did in their recent work experience with you. And I've always tried to give that feedback, and I've oftentimes heard that hardly anybody does that. And it's very frustrating because people are looking for feedback and they're not getting it. So I've tried to always take the time to give that feedback and to make it meaningful, not just predictable, they do a great job and whatever, because that doesn't really benefit them if don't give them something specific that they can work with. So I encourage you to ask for feedback, and I encourage you both to give feedback whenever you can. There's several scriptures that come to mind as I'm thinking about this topic. The first is, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up, James 4, verse 10. You really have to humble yourself if you're going to receive feedback well, and even more so if you're going to actually seek it out. So it's an important first step is to have a spirit of humility at your work before you even kind of pursue this feedback. Another one of my favorite verses, and this is one of many verses that talk about the importance of accepting instruction or correction or rebuke or reproof. And it's one of those that you wouldn't think is in the Bible, but it is. It's in the New King James Version. It's Proverbs 12, verse 1, and it says, whoever loves instruction loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid. So that's pretty strong language about describing someone who hates correction. So I don't want to be that. I don't want to be considered stupid by God. And so I don't want to hate correction. In fact, the opposite. I want to welcome correction because it can help me. It gives me the information, if acted upon, that can actually help me improve and make my life better and the life of those around me better. So that'll do it for this episode. I hope you guys have a great week. Love you, and talk to you soon.